Cloud9. And this is typically a red side ban is the Galio, the Zac, and the Caitlyn are the three that jump up. And there's the Rumble ban against Ray. I mean, he was able to kind of dumpster the top lane in TSM when he was playing Fervor. So I think it's a good ban. I think it's worth, but J4 still on the table, and we know Ray was a J4 expert even before it became a meta champion.
Rebird and Zix on your screen. See them chatting. Favorable knee up position for Cloud9 members during picks and bans.
It's the synergy. Yeah. It's the old hotshot GG.
That's right. It still amazes me. Tristana banned out, and will not be seeing that. Too much control once they get to the turrets.
Yeah. Now you got to ban Caitlyn. It's like Counter-Logic Gaming, pretty much. If you don't ban Caitlyn, it's going to get first picked. Okay.
Will it, though? I'm holding you to this, Zirene. So is Reddit. So is Twitter.
All right.
Be prepared.
If I'm wrong, then, you know, you can just throw out the cast.
God, he got it. No.
I mean, like, this is an incredibly obvious first pick here.
Yeah,
and the question is, what does Counter-Logic Gaming get in return? They get Elise off the table, so Contractz will probably play Lee Sin. They'll take Gragas because they first pick it all the time. Like, going back and looking at all the games that Counter-Logic Gaming have played this split, that first pick Gragas comes through so frequently, and they're going to take the Jhin as well to try and answer.
Aurelion Sol is left up. Once again, they did just hover it there. The Jhin Gragas is going to be Syndra. So you know what? If you do pick Aurelion Sol, I feel like we can play into it. I'm going to blind pick the Syndra. Second pick on the side of Cloud9.
Yeah, Syndra is quite good into Aurelion Sol because you can retract the stars with her Scatter the Weak and the stun, and you have enough range to really reach him and stop him from landing a stun on you. But one thing I would say is kind of the issue is he builds enough HP that you can't one-shot him with the R and even throw combos at him. So we'll see what happens here. But we know Huhi plays things like Echo. He'll play counters to the LeBlanc, or sorry, counters to the Syndra. With LeBlanc being off the table, he doesn't have options like that either here. And Braum Caitlyn, more protection here. These protection supports are just coming up very big. So we'll see if Counter-Logic Gaming go for the Aurelion Sol here, or if they go for Thresh slash... okay. The counter pick.
Very quickly done as well. They didn't even want that to be banned out.
So I was talking about how Aurelion Sol has enough HP to kind of not get one shot by the Syndra. Back at Worlds, I remember talking to a few teams about this matchup where Vladimir does quite well into Syndra, but it is a semi-skill matchup because Syndra has a way to win. It's pushing faster than the Vladimir early and then roaming to side lanes. But when Vladimir gets Proto Belt or when also Spirit Visage, which he may go for, or goes for Spectre's Cowl item, we will see if he has enough damage to burst him at that point because the Vladimir becomes incredibly difficult to deal with.
It's also a bit different of the change with Crimson Rush. Having that up allows you to negate a lot of what that ult damage would be if you were to just stand toe-to-toe. So that change for Vlad in the past, helping out greatly. Renekton Nunu getting banned out. Contractz showed that yesterday to pretty good effect as the Morgana gets banned out. 20 seconds here for Cloud9.
Yeah, possibly Tahm Kench Thresh here for Cloud9 is the next ban, I would assume, since they've already thrown a Morgana ban. There's still Bard available. There's a lot of things that can come out here. Nothing's really jumping out. Maybe Fiora's up there in terms of what we play, but don't know. They're going to go for the Lee Sin because they think that's a Gragas top.
It is one of the cleanest non-import ones, right?
Yeah, but I mean, they go back and forth.
Right,
so
absolutely.
Darshan just played Kled last game instead of the Gragas, and it went over to Dardoch. I feel like here you might be able to just pick your support and then wait for your top laner slash jungler as your last pick to kind of flex that matchup.
1 second. Yep. We have Rakan being locked in for Aphromoo.
Yeah, I really like Rakan for Aphromoo. It's not paired with a Xayah here, though. It's paired with the Jhin, so they have engage power, but it's not as long of a range as you would typically have with the Rakan. Also, Rakan plus Kalista is a good combo that people haven't been utilizing too much in NA LCS. Throw him in, and then you can go basically a full screen of engage away at that point. Ray Jarvan seems like a no-brainer.
Yeah, might have expected this one down the line. He does lock it in. And CLG obviously knew that as well, just as much as anybody else did. They're saying, you prepared to fight a Jarvan top? Let's see what we're going to be able to put it against. Smoothie now finalizing the ban. What will actually come in here? The jungle or the top laner? We've seen a few Jarvans leak into the jungle, obviously. but it might be that Kha'Zix pickup.
Yeah, I assume it's a Jarvan top for Ray. It's his most played champion right now.
Right.
Has played it 4 times, I believe, so far in the NA LCS split.
Locking the bug. Kha'Zix for Contractz to start things off. This and his Grave spring split were huge, but that is even bigger. The tried and true Zion Spartan coming out to play. Jax back to the top lane for Counter Logic Gaming. And Darshan's going to swap that one with Rakan in a second.
That's a really interesting matchup here because Jarvan doesn't rely too much on the auto attacks, but you will be outscaled by the Jax very quickly. And this is going to be super interesting.
I like it. I haven't heard this sound in a long time.
Yeah, this is the first Jax that we've seen this split. Fiora's a pretty decent counter into the Jarvan, but he's saying, all right, I want to be able to team fight as well. And now they have something that'll build a bit tanky. We've been seeing some Titanic Hydra builds from Jax lately in solo queue. We'll see what happens here with Darshan / Zion Spartan with the throwback there. He struggled on split push so far this split, but that was a good game from him last game. We'll see if they've given him some attention top lane.
This has the ability to be some pretty disgusting initiations. If you get Jax to go in with Counter-Strike and Rakan's on that jump, you're just getting knocked up, stunned up. But those are two relatively squishy champions. They're going to have to find the right engages. Again, though, if CLG get ahead, this is a team that can continuously push that pressure and repeat those engages. Cloud9's side looking to have a lot of pick potential power. Contractz might be working a little bit with Ray towards the top side here to shut down what Darshan's brought to the table, and a very safe lane for Sneaky and Smoothie on the bot side.
Yep, C9, decent amount of siege, good pick potential as well, but also the team fight for both teams, pretty good.
Yeah. I'm ready. I'm ready, they're ready, the crowd is ready, everybody at home is ready, and we're into game 2 for Counter Logic Gaming versus Cloud9. The rift is set, and now we hear the pitter-patter of their feet.
Or their speeder bikes.
Speeder bikes, yeah, that's right. I love that. That is so cool.
And checking the starts really quickly. All right, so Stixxay going with the Doran shield here. It was the Doran's Blade start for Sneaky last game on Jhin.
Oh.
So changing it up a little bit to survive the laning phase here. Did have a good laning phase last game. And Darshan in the top lane. This is where my eyes are. My eyes are on this top lane. They subbed in Ray to try and deal with Darshan because Impact wasn't dealing with the pressure well. We'll see if the substitution works out for him. But even yesterday, Ray didn't have that great of a game on J4, but it was really the pressure that he got from Contractz, the attention, and then he was able to turn it around later on. The thing that, I was originally a hater of this J4 top lane. And I was an OG J4 player in season 2, 3, but I wasn't convinced.
Talk to me.
Played it a little bit. It's pretty ridiculous because of the reliability of the J4 pick. You can EQ through a lot of roots, like Jhin hitting a root on you. You can R onto the carries, and if they have any squishy members, you're always going to get on them. You're always going to get on the Jhin. You're always going to get on a Twitch. You're always going to get on a Syndra. It's very hard to peel the J4, who starts the fight for your team. And as a top laner, he actually does a large amount of damage with Titanic Hydra and having the Black Cleaver behind it too. So I've become more convinced over time by this J4 pick in the top lane, especially since his Q can clear caster minions in one hit if he's slightly ahead of the curve.
So Counter-Strike and W start, coming from Ray and Darshan as we start off this top side. And we'll have to see how he actually decides to play it. If it comes to be the Cataclysms drag out so Darshan's kind of stuck in a wave, or if he's going all in on Darshan, because that Counter-Strike could really play it in favor of Darshan once he starts getting attack speed in.
Wants to get the hit off, there you go. Yeah, and the trading is very good. That's why you start W is you just trade, and then you wait for your Grasp of the Undying, and you hit back. Your Martial Cadence will do a large percentage of the enemy's HP, your passive, and then you just go back. And you want those one-hit trades. That's really what you want as Jarvan is single-hit trades. Grasp of the Undying's up, hit them with Martial Cadence, and then back off. And poke them with Q a whole bunch.
Yeah, Q auto if you can. Why not? There's the auto, there's the stun, the hit.
Wants to hit him back, says slow down, and then wins the trade on the back end.
We'll see. It's once the leap comes in, or I'm sorry, the empowered strike comes in. If Ray can start playing around that, then he has that back and forth in his favor.
Yeah, and you think about Jax, not supposed to have pressure top. Hold on, though. Dardoch just smited, so he has to kill this before the smite from Contractz come through. He got it.
Bad news bears for Dardoch. Gets the heal on from the passive. Darshan's going to start heading down a little bit. Try to separate themselves, and he does split down into the Baron pit. Contractz makes it out. Smooth criminal.
Yeah, that was actually some nerves of steel from Dardoch because he didn't flash there. Contractz is the one who flashed. And tried to avoid and actually ended up on the other side of the blast cone. Ray with some good trading back and forth, but like we said, the fact that the Jax is winning the matchup early is not a good sign for C9, because sure, the Jarvan is winning some of these trades back and forth, but Jax isn't supposed to win the early game.
Aphromoo gets back with the dance, not even really the safety there as he tries to separate Stixxay from the rest of the team. And all the lanes getting a little volatile here in the beginning. A pressure from Dardoch to the top side. This also has a bit of retreat for Darshan as he farms forward. He can always jump back to his caster line and kind of fake out Ray if they were to make that flag and drag play. He
canceled it back, so they're looking for it. There's Body Slam Flash still available. Oh, the check.
Wow. Incredibly smart play from Ray. That was a change in play from Darshan as well. He was never hovering his caster minions like that on the right side. He had always been up front on the melees.
Yeah, he's like, why is he not trading with me again?
Exactly.
But actually risky from Ray, because as soon as he throws out the EQ there, if the Body Slam Flash comes, he doesn't have the EQ escape, and he'd have to blow his own flash. So Darshan just wasn't in position yet.
Yeah, it's good job you caught them off guard as they were about to smother you. Stixxay, a little bit of damage back, but you can see Sneaky and Smoothie feeling real good to stand on the front side of this minion wave here. It'll all be picked up by Stixxay, but they're trying to force a bit of pressure with this Braum Caitlyn.
Yep. Trade back and forth happening where they both went back and picked up a Doran's Blade. Refillable potion though for Ray. We'll see if he turns that into a corrupting potion. Ooh. Oh, looking for the Crimson Rush. Heal himself a little bit. Might actually get a kill here. Oh.
He did get in range. That's the thing with Jax, is he has a lot of follow-up power as well. That there's leap power, there's the empowered strike, and then his strikes start getting a little bit quicker. So you have to be very careful. Jarvan's like, hey, I hit you, and now we're gonna battle it out. Jax still provides a bit of damage. Yeah,
and because the Jax has been winning the matchup early and shoving in the Jarvan, the Jax definitely has a lot of pressure here.
Yeah.
He's maxing the empower first. Is standard on Jax. Sometimes you'll max the Q if you're in range matchups and need to leap a whole bunch, but the empowered strike for those quick trades. Because you know Jarvan wants the quick trade, why not have one that's even better for yourself?
For sure. Great pressure under the turret, a little bit more towards the top side as well. It has been more, Darshan takes a turret shot, but he's still in a safe position. Ray with the Spidey sense. He actually sees Dardoch there, I believe, for a second.
Saw him on the ward top. Ray's getting pressured off the wave. This happened yesterday as well, where Ray got pressured off his top wave. He was 2 levels down in his matchup because of it. Just putting attention top lane, where it seems like CLG are leaving, Cloud9 are leaving Ray out to dry a little bit more. It's a good strategy.
I mean, it's one and the other. While you want neither, is the guy getting ganked in the top lane and dying, or is he backing off in the top lane and losing pressure, right? That's kind of what we've seen from both games here, from game 1 to game 2.
Yeah, look at that. 3.5% top lane proximity from Contractz in game 1. Yeah. And he just hung around mid. It's like this Aurelion Soul, a little ridiculous, whereas Dardoch went to the top side and gave Darshan a lot of resources. And it camped Impact a whole bunch, and now it looks like they're doing the same moves on Ray. I like this from Darshan, just picking up the Krugs while he can. His wave is already shoving in, so it'll slow push back towards him. And he has time to pick up all that gold. So yeah.
Question ping coming from Ray, who says, careful, Darshan is not here. As he finally returns to lane. The pressure towards the bottom side here for Dardoch. Doesn't look like they're going to do too much, but C9 is getting a lot of vision off of this. So Contractz may try to do something after he gets his red buff.
Yeah, and C9 are in a good position in terms of CS. They have a winning bottom lane. Their mid lane wins early game as well. And so that's where we're seeing this almost 1,000 gold advantage come from, is both mid and bot just out-CSing their lane opponents. The top lane Ray has actually stayed pretty close, but there's this gigantic wave for Darshan to pick up.
Staying close and staying alive, very helpful as he starts to roam down here, possibly grabbing a scuttle or just vision of his own.
Kill the Scryer's Bloom.
Nicely
red
done.
Coming up. Yep.
No information, still is information. They realize he's not towards the top side.
So what actually just happened there is Dardoch placed a ward inside that bush that they kept pinging, and they saw that with the Scryer's Bloom, and they were like, okay, we see all 4 other members, so they knew that that's where Dardoch was, so they're going to start up the Infernal Drake knowing Dardoch's on the top side of the map. So that's actually very clever. from Cloud9. And Ray actually ends up setting up his team for this play.
The strength of process of elimination.
Mm-hmm.
So powerful.
Yeah, who can place a ward there when we see everybody else? It's just a very, very powerful thing with the Scryer's Bloom. It's one of the things like Hawk Shot is incredibly good. Yeah. It's hard to realize the power of it as a spectator, but when you kind of see it there, it's much easier to kind of be like, okay, that's what they did, is extrapolated the information. And
I like that kind of the idea of Hawk Shot, right? And that was a heady play by Ray. The lane was resetting-ish a little towards Darshan, says, I'm going to flag and drag over the wall. Yeah. We don't actually see that too often for Sony to just make that for their priority.
Yeah, use your time wisely, use every second you can. Yeah. You can see Jensen playing off to his right side here, making it so it's hard for him to be touched, but hold on. Him and Contractz actually going to the left side.
Says you first, Bug.
Body slam.
Hopefully don't get splatted. Throws it against the wall to try and squeeze Contractz out. Blows his flash.
Huhi had the
upper
flash,
hand. Aphromoo throws himself into a stun. Yeah, Huhi also flash.
Huhi also flashed there, so they got that summoner spell out of him. And Jensen wants a blue buff / wants to back here. But with Contractz chunked out and his flash gone, you can see there's pings onto the blue buff. So if Darshan can chunk out Ray, there may actually be a collapse here onto that blue buff, seeing what Darshan does. Or Dardoch does, actually, as well, out of the jungle.
All day. I do that all day.
I mean, it's the Dario brothers, you know. Was it Dardar Binks? Is somebody?
Oh, my word. Good damage from Darshan. The trade back, there it is. Auto Q. And make sure he gets his W on for a little bit of the resistance there.
Yeah,
and this trade it's going to be good. I can't wait till these guys actually go fighting.
Yeah, and Dardoch entering the jungle, sees that the blue buff is still up. May go for a dive here. He's going to get spotted in just a second. If he does come around the corner, there he does. But it's low wave clear. He's going to be sitting in that bush for a while now. That's not reaching the turret anytime soon.
Yeah, he's also queuing the wave as much as possible, saying it's going to stay away from the turret. Contractz knows he's got a Dardoch just on the wing, but there's going to be no pressure here.
Dardoch knows. See that the ward comes down.
Yeah.
And they question mark ping that area, so they know that Contractz is right there.
Gotta love those. I'm not gonna do anything. Whatever gentleman's agreement. I'm too busy at this time situation.
Yeah, but that's one of those situations where Dardoch went for the kill instead of the blue buff because he didn't have full information. That was 100%. He can take blue, but hold on. Speaking of 100%,
battle dance in, sneaky, and now
from behind,
taking the turret shots. Great shield, but a hold by Stixxay to get the rest of the damage. The 1-2 TP. It's Darshan and Ray entering the fight. Three's a crowd, but Sneaky flashes out. Darshan leaps forward, picks one up. Deadly flourish onto Ray, but there was no tag there unless he'd already been stunned previously. Gets himself out, and CLG collapse very quick.
Mid lane. Huhi is actually caught out here.
Looks like the pool's already been used. He gets that down. Just a bit of his HP is there. The hit coming in. And unleashed power from Jensen is enough to take down Huhi. Bot lane's gonna get the pressure from CLG as the teleports were used. And Ray is forced to back. Fights all over the map.
Yep, Darshan actually tanking turret shots right now to make sure that he doesn't have to get off the turret early, and that the minions don't take that damage, that they can keep pushing. So they actually have a minion wave to accelerate, and they get that first turret. Oh, Contractz. That was so close to killing him.
Watch out, if there was a minion wave there, it could have been very worse off. Much more worse off.
Yeah, Huhi actually got punished in the mid lane. Is that early part of the game where Syndra does have enough damage to burst through him. Aphromoo, the R flash W onto Sneaky. Picks him up, and that exhaust is used onto Aphromoo there, it looked like. Oh no, it's used on Darshan afterwards, sorry. He used it onto Sneaky. And then
so many
right here, he gets stunned as he Qs, so he still goes. Yep. If that stun had happened a little bit earlier, Darshan would have been out of range and wouldn't have been able to jump onto Sneaky.
They turn really quick too. Huhi actually had that vision on the ward, but he didn't have, or I'm sorry, Jensen, but didn't have Contractz vision. Good dodge there, but too little too late. Jensen did get that blue buff you were talking about previously, and he has been using pretty good effect. 117 to 95 in that lane. The C9 getting some help from the fans here to get some momentum in game 2.
Yeah, and Cloud9 have actually been playing this early game well with their winning lanes, and Jensen up in this matchup against the Vladimir has been doing quite well for himself at the 10 CS per minute mark for this next wave, and he's about 30 plus up over Huhi.
He's had some crazy CS numbers this season. It's absurd.
He's been such a fantastic laner. He's actually one of the best, if not the best laner so far. Was able to solo kill Bjergsen twice yesterday in lane. But you know, his team picks him some champions very early on. Pick the Syndra in the second round after they had taken the Caitlyn. Even yesterday, picked Orianna very early on. Had a Lucian pick for himself in the second phase. So Jensen, you know, the team does pick for him, but it does work out. He's a very strong player. And I know we talk about it a whole bunch, and, you know, community's always, you know, back and forth on this, and who's really the best mid laner in North America. And I love that the conversation is so close that it's always, oh, it's always Bjergsen. Or, you know, Jensen is actually underrated because he's like #1 and he's rated as #2, right? But people are like, oh, what's the clutch factor mean? He just beat Bjergsen yesterday.
Right.
Is this us finally seeing it? Because we say it all the time, that Jensen is becoming the best mid laner.
Oh, they got to beat the best to beat the best.
Exactly.
It's starting to happen.
But I will say that just because you're at the top doesn't always mean that you're the best, right?
Yeah.
You look at somebody like Froggen, who has insane stats in laning. Does it mean he's the best? Is his team able to transition? Is all of the onus on him?
Right.
So there's a whole bunch of questions that you have to kind of take your own subjective criteria towards and say, okay, who is the best? But I definitely think Jensen is making a big case for himself, especially this split. And last split, too. But this one in particular.
Writing a very strong story for himself. And C9 solidifying a bit more pressure in this series. Here in Game 2, getting themselves a Mountain Drake.
Rift Herald on the top side, though, looking for Shelly.
Take her out. Poke her in the eye, it's so mean.
But Ray's going to see this, and they have Jensen roaming in, and oh, that was a split call because Dardoch went out the back. Looked like they just wanted to get out of there, and Darshan felt like he could go straight through Ray. Almost has that Trinity Force. He's got 1,400 gold, so he'd be able to complete his Zeal and buy Longsword as well on top of it. Or sorry, the Stinger and the Longsword on top of it. And we have switched lanes now because the bottom is just completely down with turrets. Top lane is the next place. C9 once again did get that mid lane turret very early on. Oh, opens up Jensen.
See how much Darshan can be a nuisance on this Jax pick now in the side lane. They had the Tristana on CLG destroy turrets last time, and Kled, Darshan was still doing that split push, but now even more so he can put pressure down.
Look at that. CSD at 15 minutes, 38 plus 32 this game. So Jensen showing that his matchups and superiority in this lane. Even though this is a matchup that I talked about where you shove in and then Vladimir eventually starts beating you. Yeah. But it's more like Vladimir starts winning the game off of scaling, just like Jax. So CounterLogic Gaming definitely have a lot of scaling to come through. And the fact that they're only down 1,100 gold bodes very well for them coming into this mid part of the game.
Not a lot of vision, if any, down here for Darshan. The team is focusing towards that top side. I feel like there's going to be a big fight. Both teleports are up, and I think the top laners know that's going to happen as well here. It's just who's going to light the fuse first. The turret's going to be up on the, or minions will be up on the side of CLG. It does not look like they have the vision to get themselves in the jungle. It's a roam up. Darshan goes slow to get the Scryer's Bloom to make sure he is safe and alone if he does want to fight and stun up Ray. Both of those guys can stop out the teleports if they do it too close.
Yep, look at this though. Pinching towards mid, so Darshan doesn't have to use his teleport to get there. Aphromoo has flash, and he also has the quickness, so we may see a flash quickness from him onto somebody.
Get in position for some minions. Oh, how about no?
Walk around.
This way is off limits. So easy though for Sneaky to just lay those down. Getting a little more map control. As now with focus towards the top side, Stixxay can open up with current call. They have to realize how much range is in this CLG competition. Jensen being pushed off a mid. Focus from the Rift Herald is taken off. Shelly once again left
Bray
alone.
might start this anyway though.
Shelly's joining the party anyways. Looks like they back. Oh, out from over the wall. Charms him up. That's Dardoch in as well. He gets bounced out. The cast did not do too much. Contractz gets zeroed out here by Huhi as he goes to the middle of the fight. Does he have pool to get out? Darshan, one more shot from concussive blows, but he's stunned up in a safe spot. As the turnaround might happen, the few traps placed by Sneaky slow things down, and the waves are being pinged by the teams.
Yeah, it's a 2-1 though. CounterLogic Gaming end up doing all right for themselves there, but not able to pick up everything that they want. Actually, it's just junglers, it looks like.
Whoop, flash wall, hello.
Yep.
One more, it's gonna come in quick. Ray has that mana, might have the flag and drag, but it's not enough. Darshan finding the solo kill as both roam down to that bot side. He still has that teleport.
Yeah. Now it's a 2-for-1. in favor of Counter Logic Gaming. Darshan getting that kill. He's winning that matchup pretty heavily.
Ooh. Sneaky drawing out the Deadly Flourish. A little safe to be next to the turret.
Wants that fourth
Yomu's down. Aphromoo looking for the engage. They split him in the middle, right through the uprights. Beautifully done. Darshan, however, with that teleport now coming into play. He held it, but what is it for? Does he come up with the kill? Beautiful hits here by Sneaky, continuing the shots as they stand true and take the 2v2 fight. Once again, he hides one behind the turret that Darshan steps on. Yep. And they are forced to leave. Teleport now down, and it actually wasn't used for much, this turret pressure for C9.
Yeah, and this is big. Sneaky's going to have a great Caitlyn performance here. That first pick for him,
wow, really
paying off as they continue to pressure these turrets. And now they have all 3 outers.
Beautifully controlled in a little bit of chaos by Cloud9 on the top side. 50 seconds on Baron. We got a minute and a half on Dragons.
They got to do Rift Herald now if they are going to do it.
Right.
Clearing out that
burn it now
ward on the backside. And this right here, Aphromoo went over the wall with Flash, and then goes, wait a second. Goes back in with a quickness W as Jhin sets up. They body slam as well for another stun, and then they get the kill on Dardoch, but it's traded back as Contractz goes down from Huhi. So both junglers dropped there. And that was the 1-for-1 that eventually had a solo kill happen between Darshan and Ray. And it's happening again where Ray not really having the best laning phase at all. Getting kind of pummeled by Darshan. So the split push is online for CLG. Trinity Force up for him as well. And we're seeing if the Zions... It's so weird because Darshan became such a good team player. Like he was giving up CS. They were picking the Gragas to put it top lane. And I remember back in the days when it was like Coast, GGU, Dignitas for Darshan, where he was Zion Spartan and it was just all about split pushing. The guy knows that style, but it just hadn't really been in his wheelhouse lately on the CLG team. And now we're seeing him on this.
You think the fact that when's the last time you kind of went up against the Jax that just wanted to continuously eat your face? Darshan's back on no training wheels here. He remembers how to ride this bike, and he is going full bore on this Jax. C9's going to pressure the top side. Ray says there's not much I can do here. He'll grab that turret. We'll get an eventual
They see it now. It's 4,000.
Baron.
Isolation damage from Kha'Zix.
Oh, they pulled him off.
We'll see if they can do it now. Goes down.
There's going to be a resulting
Ray in the
here.
back line.
Huhi trying to hold it. Concussive blows.
One more shot.
Knock out. Oh, he went down too early. Comes out of the pool. And C9 knows the timing. It's Darshan just on the left side, but it's 4v1 if he takes that fight. The pressure bot is lost, and CLG now have to defend.
Yeah, C9 with that one Mountain Drake that they have, able to pressure it. That's exactly what they needed to do. They had winning lane matchups. You need to accelerate the mid game because you're up against a Vladimir and a Jax that will outscale, and they'll be very hard to kill as they destroy your backline. So that's a great play from C9 because it's exactly what they need to do with the state of the game.
There's the call. You can see the ping on the inhibitor turret. We're giving up this second tier. It's too dangerous. And CLG know they have to give these few things up to make the plays happen in their favor.
And now it'll be a Mountain Drake going over to Cloud9 here as they try to start it up. I don't think there'll be a contest here. And with this Baron buff, Cloud9's composition, as I said at the very beginning, built for siege. They have good wave clear with the Syndra. They can pick under turrets. It's hard to get on a sneaky or actually hit him with any type of skill shot because you're going to have the Braum in front of him. But it's very difficult to enter in on these turrets. Yep, that got really low, 200. And then the interrupt there onto Stixxay on the back line. And then Ray throws down the Cataclysm onto Huhi, even though he was going to get locked up there. But good from him to actually stop the Proto Belt from putting the Vladimir in a different position.
Pink wards everywhere in the inventories of CLG. A lot of these being placed defensively, though, and they're looking to refresh and move them up slowly. See the damage from that last fight. Imagine if Darshan hadn't tried to teleport through that top side. It's all what ifs, right? But
earlier, you're talking about the play
that he had that be the teleport instead of walking up where he has 0 damage. Unfortunate situations, but that's what C9's doing. They're trying to spread CLG thin when they do have those advantages. Yeah,
Darshan was split pushing without teleport, and Ray abandoned the defense to go and walk in. Like you said, the teleport that was used to not get anything for Darshan ended up giving over the Baron to C9, so they were able to punish it appropriately. And now they get to go into these siege positions. We'll see Sneaky, who now has max traps, so he has all those, all 5 of them. And on that super short cooldown as well, that takes 10 seconds to recharge the traps.
You can lay him right across the lane, so the engage as well from Darshan could be quite difficult when he does join the team. Right now, they're obviously solo laning on that top side. And it's not too bad for him to get the Baron minions. He can clear them out rather quickly. It's not a huge problem.
Yeah, it's hard to really contest them against the Jax, who's still beating the Jarvan in this matchup.
Right.
But in the other lanes, it's hard because their wave clear is pretty low. It's really Huhi who has to use his his Tides of Blood. And they're just going to siege these down. So yeah, just the composition really built for sieging here for Cloud9. And once they have this advantage, it's quite good for them. And you think about Dardoch, who wants to barrel in and like explosive cask, Stixxay or Sneaky into the team, right? You want to get the Caitlyn into your team. Well, he has multiple ways to get away, and if Smoothie's fast enough, he can just put up the wall, the Unbreakable, and stop the barrel in front of him so it doesn't hit his back line.
I like that line of traps as well. Usually you see it straight across. This one cuts in towards the turret, giving the team a bit of room for themselves. And they can use it as a little alcove to fight in. Very nicely done. 4-3, 25 minutes in. You see when a C9 game is in C9's favor, it's a little less bloody as they work around the team. They work the objectives. They get the 3 dragons. They start dropping your turrets, and you're scattered trying to protect everything. CLG in the lead, and it's bloody. People are dropping everywhere, and they're getting the turrets.
Yeah. CLG getting that turret on the top side for themselves for Darshan. 6,000 gold up for Cloud9 with 2 Mountain Drakes. Third one on the way here as well. And when you have a siege comp, having Mountain Drakes is big. Caitlyn gets to walk up, give 1 shot to the turret, and it would chunk it for a whole bunch, especially since she has that rapid fire cannon to extend her range. Energizer build online. She's up about 2,000 gold too. Same with Jensen in the mid lane. So Sneaky and Jensen today having pretty good performances for themselves. Sneaky not so much in the first game, but Jensen's been really, really consistent. CS advantages regardless of the matchup.
No. All this extra gold as well, obviously meaning more items for Smoothie. Locket's finished for the team, more protection for the rest of everyone. Focus here for CLG towards the top side as Darshan is pushing bottom. They're trying to say we need our vision back, but it's only lasting so long. C9 lives over on this side of the jungle now.
And there's some interesting things happening here in terms of the builds for these top laners. Darshan got himself the Jarvan's Fist so that he could go into the Titanic Hydra. Then he got himself Vamp Scepter, which may be a Blade of the Ruined King, maybe a Death's Dance. I would assume it's Blade of the Ruined King on Jax, but it would come in way later. And then you look at Ray, who's got part of the Titanic Hydra. But hold on, looking for, oh my god, he got him!
Absolutely
What the?
Exploded. That's Sneaky down immediately. Dardoch coming out of the woodwork. The big man moving fast. Ray gets hit. Dardoch coming in and going out of that fight quick. Huhi's already down on this one as well. Darshan and the team have to retreat. Contractz played big on the backside there to get down Huhi. Flash and Ignite is down when he even does come back up, and CLG's pushing top. Or C9, sorry.
There's just some gigantic CS leads for C9, and their carries are very far ahead. Jensen's 2 levels up, level up for Sneaky, and then Contractz also up, and was able to solo out Huhi here. That was a solo kill on the back line.
Wow.
It looked like Dardoch was about to try and save the game for Counterlogic Gaming. No idea how he got in there and actually hit Sneaky into the team, where there's the protection of Smoothie, and you should have vision control on that right side of the fight.
Ooh, there's that BF sword for Contractz. He's ready to get in.
Yeah.
Start dancing around.
Duskblade coming through as well. Ooh, we'll see. I would assume Guardian Angel, but that's got himself a serrated Dirk. He definitely wants some armor penetration. It did help him actually kill Huhi, who's gone for more resistances here.
Let's see this again.
And he's all the way behind. Yeah, they had vision on that right side. You can see all the control boards here. But Dardoch, the sneaky fat man, is the scariest. Gets right in the backside there of Sneaky. Kills him, and then Jensen flashes away, gets charmed up, but now Smoothie's in front to block for him, and then Ray gets a Cataclysm on 2 as the stun comes across, and Jensen's able to kill the rest. His Contractz was just soloing out Huhi on the side.
The pink ward they had over there kind of denied Huhi's vision, so he was walking over hoping to get to safety. It did not. 2 seconds on the Baron. Drake is again alive here and is going to be taken down. 3 Mountain Drakes. You can't get any more than that in one game.
Nope.
That is a little helpful.
They'll get another Drake though.
Oh my word.
So they have 3 mountains and an Infernal, and then the next one that's going to spawn, an Infernal.
Oh,
so they have
word.
3 mountains and 2 Infernals if Cloud9 do pick that one up. And right now they're looking at Baron. They're going to do so much damage to it with that Mountain Drake. The extra 30% true damage, these helps so much.
They're almost final form.
Yeah, right now.
This is close.
Yeah, CLG, though, are a little panicked. You can see Darshan in mid not clearing the bottom wave because he doesn't have TP. So Cloud9 are kind of in that almost checkmate position.
Not much you can do with this much power for C9. CLG has to get the right fight. And you think of how much went into even getting themselves to where Dardoch was last fight. He was hovering around 3 pink wards. How do you even get there? Now they have to go face to face on an engage.
Yeah, and
it's going to be even tougher.
And they're losing a bit of their base there. The damage that's going to happen to that bottom turret on the Nexus is about to actually drop here. Need just a few more super minion hits and it'll go down. And there it goes. Yeah, so they're losing their base to minions. They don't have teleport to answer. If somebody goes there, 100% C9 start up the Baron and take it. And they take it so quickly.
Peacemaker protocol.
Yep, you can see. I heard inhibitors respawning soon, so CLG don't have to actually hang around this forever. Look at that though, Ray.
A little trouble, may get popped up here. A quick step aside by Aphromoo, gets himself into danger. Actually jumps in with his battle dance back. Trying to get the heal, but he steps on the old trap and gets himself taken down.
Oh, Huhi just got spotted there too. He's gonna try to go into the pit. I mean, it worked out for him last time, but he's gotta walk through Smoothie. And they open up.
Calls down, Baron goes over to Contractz. Darshan looking for Sneaky on the backside. He kites that down. Burnett gets himself into a great spot, and the team is the meat shield. Sneaky stays alive, and Cloud9 pick up Baron.
Ray's gonna TP to the bottom side, go for that inhibitor. And there's only 2 members left to CLG. With Aphromoo coming up in 5 seconds. C9, they're trying to force that game 3.
I think it is going to be a forced game 3 here. We said Counterlogic Gaming, 6 of their 8 already going to 3 here. So they know how to play the long haul, but C9 making a very good case for themselves, coming out strong in game 2, shaking off CLG's fast game 1, and bringing it right back to him. 30 minutes, the Nexus is open, but the fight is there as Counterlogic Gaming go for broke, and that means Aphromoo's down. Dardoch's next, and Stixxay heads for the Fountain for solace and safety, and Dardoch says, walk this way. And they only have to go so far. Nexus in the eyes of C9, and we are going to a game 3.
Yeah, 31 minutes here. Very fast game for them. C9 tie up the series. That was multiple carry performances from across the board.
Real
for
methodical.
Cloud9. We saw C9 have a really good mid lane, just dominating there. Jensen over Huhi in terms of the CS, the early game pressure. Sneaky also with the Caitlyn. You have to think about that pick ban. Is the Elise really that much more threatening than the Caitlyn, which is so hard to get on?
No.
It's got to be something you consider.
For me.
I know. I agree. I agree. I feel like the Elise is a little bit out of sorts there in terms of, you know, they still pick the Kha'Zix anyway. And I feel like that's something that they could pick Kha'Zix, they could pick Lee Sin. There's all these different champions. You could ban them out. And the difference between the Elise versus the Kha'Zix and the effect that Contractz had is not even close to what the difference was there with the Caitlyn versus what he probably would have been on a Jhin at that point, which is much easier to catch.
We're also seeing a trend in how things are going here for C9 with top lane not being left out to dry. And you could say that case, but it seems like they know that. Ray this time playing much more absorb pressure instead of like take the pressure and go with it. Just falling back, letting it go. And we saw that jungle proximity for mid lane towards Jensen. Him and Contractz are just on the ball together all the time.
Yeah, they're constantly trying to get Jensen an advantage, and it does pay off for them. Jensen had a fantastic performance, 2-0-5, whereas Contractz 5-1-2, the inverse score with the death to his name, though. And this is honestly a really good series so far. We saw a really early CLG victory for themselves by having great level 1s. This was a pick strategy that happened very early on where they were able to pick themselves the Syndra, and then they were kind of countering with the Vladimir, and it didn't really work out. And so I really like the fact that C9 picked winning lanes, except for that top lane, which did get a little bit destroyed early on.
Right.
But Ray, I've been constantly impressed by in the last few weeks, where he has losing matchups, or he has been losing a lot of his pressure by getting ganked.
Yeah.
And then he's able to come out big in the team fights. Ray, 0, 1, and 8. So he only missed out on 3 kills in that game.
He finds
was
ways
on his back foot the whole time.
He finds ways to get himself in trouble, but also draws the other team's attention. We see replay 30 minutes in C9 with getting kills around Baron. And Ray getting himself in trouble again, but what happens after this?
Yeah,
the team comes up big.
Ray's mechanics are just crazy, and then he's able to dunk back in, EQs through, doesn't even like try to burst Aphromoo down, and goes after Stixxay there instead to try and get his flash, and then they're able to start this up, and Huhi wants to get in, they try to keep him out. Smoothie misses the Q, curtain call opens up, Smite comes down, and then they exhaust onto Huhi before he pulls his big, as Sneaky flashes to the other side. That was really well played there from Sneaky, and also Smoothie with the Braum ultimate to make sure that nobody gets past.
Braum out, lock it, making sure Sneaky keeps his HP up, and you can see kind of up to the right. A little dip there. A little dip where they tried to take out Alone, but it's all right. They had the gold all in their favor for C9 this time around. And it was a bit different in the way they came and transitioned into mid-game, not having to worry too much about the power top lane was going to bring in general. There was still quite a bit there coming from the Jarvan, and I feel like the same thing kind of happens when they play with Ray most of the time, that he will continuously go in on those fights that sometimes ping a good win.
Yeah, and Ray really didn't give anything over to Darshan in that early parts of the game. He was trading very heavily with him, blew his TP, and then got pushed out because of the pressure from Dardoch. But this Jax never got online. This Jax never got to the point. He finally completed 2 items, and the second one was Frozen Mallet. So they ended the game very quickly, and that's what I liked from C9, was they knew they had an advantage with their CS on both Caitlyn and on Jensen, and then they were able to start up the Baron with their 1 Mountain Drake and close a lot of the windows there and make sure that there's a ton of pressure on CLG for the rest of the game. And they controlled that mid part of the game, which their composition should.
Oh, we'll see who can get it going into Game 3. Cloud9 and Counterlogic Gaming are going to that Game 3. Meet us back here in just a few to see which team comes out on top.